How's it going, YouTube fam? It's China Hardy coming to you live. Today I want to talk about the GRE. A question I get often: is the GRE hard? Is it difficult? How does it go? What is the GRE? Okay, I get that question quite often because I'm a physical therapist and I had to take the GRE myself to get into PT school, and that is something that most PT schools need to see. They want you to take the GRE to get accepted into their school. They want you to score very well on it. So we're about to discuss it. But before we do, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. And after this video, if you have any further questions or you just want to contact me, hit me up on my IG page right here. I'll always answer your questions, or we can just have a conversation about anything PT related, okay, or anything that I may talk about on this channel if you have interest in that. But let's get right into it. Is the GRE hard? Honestly, that's a very subjective question, but we can try our best to answer this objectively. What is the GRE? The Graduate Record Examination. All right, and the purpose is to get into grad school. So grad schools meaning a master's program or a doctoral program. It is after you graduate undergrad. Now, with that being said, I believe you guys are familiar with the ACT and the SAT. Those two tests are for people to get into college, the undergrad. Comparing GRE to the ACT and the SAT, I would believe that the GRE is going to be harder. And this states it right here. It is harder because you're trying to get into post-grad schools, okay? The GRE is going to test your reasoning skills, your math skills, your writing. What you learned in college should reflect with this test, and your scores will kind of indicate what you've learned. Now, there are other post-grad tests other than the GRE. You have the MCAT, that's for medical school. You have the LSAT, which is for law school. You have the GMAT, and also you have other schools like the DAT, which is dental school, PCAT, pharmacy school. You have so many, and they are a little bit more specific to the school that you're trying to get into. Now, those tests, arguably, I think they're much more difficult than just the GRE. The GRE is a little bit more general. The GRE can apply to a lot of different schools. These tests are very specific, especially the MCAT. I've heard that it's way harder, and I believe it because there's like organic chemistry on there, certain sciences. And honestly, those are tough sciences. I was in organic chemistry in school. I passed, but it was hard and I hated it. Okay, and that's on the MCAT, I've heard. Those tests are definitely harder than the GRE. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the GRE a little bit more. What does it consist of? Verbal portion, which is like reading, quantitative reasoning, which is the math, and then you also have a writing section. Now, the reading and the math portion, you can get a score between 130 to 170. The writing section, you can get a score of 0 to 6. You don't want a 0. Nobody wants a 0, but that's the score. Now let's talk about the average scores for these sections. For the verbal, known as the reading section, the average score is 151. For the quantitative reasoning or the math section, 157. And for the writing section, the average score is 3.4. All right, so let's wrap back around to that original question. Is the GRE hard? Let's talk about what I scored first of all. Honestly, I don't remember what I scored. I took it 6 years ago in 2017, but I do remember that my score was average. I don't remember the specific numbers though, but an average score is what I got. So is the GRE hard? In my opinion, it's difficult. It is kind of hard. I remember my math score was the highest score. Math was actually, is still my strength. Verbal was okay, but my writing, I hated writing since high school, since middle school. I always scored below average on writing. I don't know what it is. It never clicked with me. Like, why did I always get a below average score with my writing? I always put my commas where they were supposed to be, my exclamation marks, my periods, all the stuff we learned in the school. I did it, but I never could write well, apparently, because the teachers, this ain't it. So writing is definitely one of my weaknesses. But honestly, it is what it is. So, if you want to get an average score on the GRE, here's some tips. And this is what I did. Okay, this is a joke in a way. Please don't just shoot for average. Shoot for above average. But this is what I did to get an average score. One, I had a prep course. There were books and online sessions as well. A friend of mine, I saw her studying, but she had notes on her wall saying she will do this amount of studying per day. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that too. So I applied that. I put on my wall, I will study for 2 hours per day for the next maybe 4 weeks. I definitely studied for at least 4 weeks. It might have been a little bit more than that. Make sure you stick to that schedule because that is critical. Studying for this test, you really need to do it. Many people underestimate the GRE because they think it is a generalized test, but they think it's easy. So absolutely, I do recommend getting a course and studying for it consistently every day. Block everything out. Give yourself a couple of hours per day to study for at least 4 weeks so you can score above average. Well, in my case, average. And other tips, make sure you pay attention to the time. This is a time test, okay? You don't have all day to take it. And answer all of the questions. They're multiple choice. If you don't know the answer to the question, make sure you answer it at least because there is a 25% chance that you will get it right, okay? So we answered the question, is the GRE hard? I said yes, but let me go ahead and give you my thoughts on the GRE. Standardized tests, honestly, aside from the MCAT, those more specific types of tests, I really don't like them. I don't care for standardized tests. I don't believe that it's a good indicator of how you'll perform in your career. I know for a fact that many people are not great testers. This test, it's not specific to most careers. Honestly, a lot of things can just be learned with hands-on training and also, studying for that particular career. But the GRE does not hit a lot of things that we're using in our careers, honestly. That's how I feel. So the GRE, please scrap it. Now, if your GRE score is not what you really wanted it to be, it's not as high as it should be for those schools that you want to get accepted into, there are other ways that you could possibly get accepted into schools. So again, my score was average. They recommended that I take the GRE over one more time because the people that were applying, highly competitive GRE scores, all right? But what helped me out, I actually had a higher GPA. I also talked to the PT school staff. I went to the school in undergrad, so then I went to the PT school as well. Same school, Langston University. I'll go ahead and shout it out. But basically 2 years before I even graduated, I started talking to the staff of the PT school. Talking to them helped me build a little bit of rapport with them, letting them know what type of personality I had, how serious I was about getting into PT school. So that also helps. It's kind of like networking, Make sure you talk to the people. You're not just another application. They don't just see numbers, okay? So that actually helped me, I believe. I also had some achievements in undergrad. I was the biology club president. I had a couple positions. I don't remember. I don't want to list them all, but I did some things in undergrad, very active. Certain things can boost your chances of getting into PT school. Do not worry about the GRE score if it was average. And also that applies to any other post-grad school that requires the GRE to get accepted. We can go ahead and wrap this video up. I hope you guys found this very helpful. And if you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know. If you want to contact me, you have any further questions, go ahead and hit me up on my IG page. All right. And I hope you guys stay safe. Go study hard, get a high score. Get above average. Be better than me. Okay? And until next time, you guys stay safe. I'm China Hardy, and I'm out.